Have you ever used a hashtag when posting on social media? Or maybe you've used a hashtag on social media to find information. These are a very interesting way of storing data, right? Publicly classifying data into different categories. What if there was a way to monetize this? There is a protocol called Tag protocol that is doing exactly that with NFTs. And instead of using proof of stake, they're using the actual hashtag usage on different platforms. So we're going to dive into this protocol and how it actually works in this video. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this specific project. So with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good, Jake? My name is Sam. For those of you who are returning, it is good to freaking see you. If you want to support the channel, there's some links down below. You can jump over to shop.letstalkpeds.com for some cool stuff over there if you like cool stuff. Now, let's get into this video. So tag protocol, what is this? This is a protocol that is going to utilize hashtags as a way of recognizing the value that is the hashtag in terms of looking. I know my girlfriend uses hashtags to find information when we're traveling or on restaurants. Instead of looking up reviews on a restaurant, right, that are clearly going to be biased in one direction, what about using the hashtag for the restaurant and you get actual information around that? This is an unbiased way of finding this information. So it's a repository or a way of classifying information there, and it's used by many different platforms to actually do this. Well, in here, they want to take that and turn that into a financial asset, or that's what they're trying to do. You can go on here and purchase a NFT that is represented as the hashtag used on different social platforms, or you can go through and create an NFT so that that represents the specific hashtag you were looking for. Now, once you have this NFT, you can take this NFT and put it into their staking protocol. That allows you to earn rewards based upon how your hashtag actually does relative to all the other hashtags in the system. So you're like, well, this is kind of like the .com domain registry, right? Where people will just purchase domains and just sit on the domains until hopefully they become valuable. Well, that was at least what I thought when I was reading through this. Yeah, it does seem a little bit like that. To me, it does definitely seem, I get a little bit of that from this. It's a very super interesting project, though. So you can purchase the NFT from their NFT marketplace. You can go through and there's the ability to get, you purchase from their auction, the ability to create an NFT, right? And then once you create it, you can do hashtag, Sam is fucking awesome, right? And then based upon the actual usage on, say, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, your hashtag has a ranking relative to all the other hashtags in the system. And then there's a payout, so of this tag coin. When this takes place, let's see if there's an overview of this in here. When this takes place, you are earning that tag by staking your NFT that represents that hashtag in the system. So say if you're in number one, it comes up into different categories. So you're basically, if yours is more popular, you earn more tag coin. If yours is less popular, then you earn less. You're like, okay, well then that just means this is going to be super hyper inflationary, right? Because you're just going to have more and more people creating more and more hashtags that earn free tokens by doing this. Right? Well, yes, completely agreed. One thing to reduce the effects on inflation is that, well, there's two big things that I saw reading through their white paper and going through this section here on their site. First of all, this is not 100% live yet, right? It's been out for around a year, but it doesn't go fully live to everybody. It's still in an invite stage only. And the two ways that the supply is decreased, there's a 50% reduction in the mintable supply of tag coin, so per year. So every year that gets, for the first 5 years, that gets cut down by 50%. So the mintable supply is going to be reducing. Basically, the amount of inflation is pushed towards the beginning of the system, kind of like how Bitcoin was at the beginning. There's a lot more Bitcoin minted early days than there was in later days, right? To the point now where for mining, there's only a tiny fraction of Bitcoin mined every day relative to, say, 10 years ago. And after the first 5 years, it is static. So it's just not going to have any more, but it's still going to be inflationary. So the second part that reduces this inflation in the system, because we're like, why is inflation bad? Well, check out the U.S. government, right? Check out what the U.S. government does to the dollar. How appropriate do you think it is that a handful of people are able to increase the supply of a currency, US dollars, to such a degree that it affects nearly everybody on the planet, given the status of the US dollar globally. And if you're like, okay, well, it doesn't really affect other countries, which is completely false, but if that was your argument, think about the 330 million people in the United States that affects, because inflation increases, thus prices increase. That's how it works, because now you have more dollars out there. Now, same thing is happening on a lot of currencies, right? Ethereum also has inflation in it, Bitcoin has inflation in it, Hex has inflation in it, right? But what happens to help decrease that with the tag coin? Well, when this auction takes place every day, which allows you to create an NFT of a hashtag, there's only 30 slots available. So every day there's an auction for 30 new hashtag NFTs to be created. That auction you can only bid on with a tag coin. All of the proceeds from that go to burning the tag coin to reduce the effect of inflation. If this became more valuable, right, then that effect on inflation could be reduced. It still would increase in my opinion, but you just increase at a lower rate, right? But not necessarily that some small level of inflation is not necessarily a bad thing in the system, depending on the person's point of view. And if somebody has a preconceived belief that a hashtag is going to do really well, right? If they have a belief that there's a certain hashtag that is going to perform very well, or it is going to trend upwards, then that would mean somebody could take that belief and understanding of the marketplace and go purchase the hashtag and gain the future value of that growth of usage on different social platforms by utilizing that. How do they do this? They use something called oracles, and there's APIs, which I don't fully understand, but it's a way for, I think, different platforms to share information or allow external developers to utilize information from a certain system. So Twitter, actually, let's just check this out real quick. What is an API? So API is Application Programming Interface. So it allows you to, API is the acronym for an Application Programming Interface. which is software intermediary that allows two applications to talk to each other. And Google has an API that allows you to take a look at all of Twitter in terms of how many people, how many pages, how many tweets have utilized, say, hashtag X, hashtag whatever out there for that. And this is how they're going to actually be able to track this. And these oracles, anybody could be an oracle by putting up a deposit, so to speak, and then anybody can be an oracle to actually do this. So I thought this is kind of interesting idea to actually go through and talk about. Now, I want to give some of my thoughts on this, right? It's a super cool idea. We're going to see more and more of these things as people understand NFTs. You can think of an NFT in layman's terms as a way to monetize anything. So you can take an NFT and you can monetize anything, right? A lot of stuff is not going to have value if people try to monetize it in a certain way, but people are going to take that framework of an NFT, which allows you to just take this framework and place it on anything in a different, unique way to potentially extract value or create value by doing that. And this is an interesting way of doing that. When you look at hashtags, like I've used hashtags in my posts, I use hashtags to look up information about certain things. So this is an interesting way to try to capture that value there. And they talk about the environment too. So to utilize, instead of mining, like proof of work with BTC, this does not use that, right? So it's more eco-friendly if that's what somebody cares about. Now, my thoughts on this, there's no audit. There's no audit that they mentioned that I could find on their site, which was kind of interesting. This is that roadmap where it's going to be going live public in July, right? So in about a month from now. So it's not quite, when you try to get into the DApp, there's no audit of this. So we're just supposed to hope it's good code, right? We're supposed to hope there's no bugs in there that fuck shit up. Also, there appears to be a limited amount of tokens that can be minted, right? They did say this. And it seems to be in the first page, I think it is, or something. One of these ones, there's a limited amount of of the coin that can be minted. There's like 10 million that are pre-minted that they're going to use, right? And then beyond that, there's none of it's available. It is minted based upon how many people are actually, how the hashtags are actually doing, right? In a preset amount per year that gets halved every year for 5 years. And then if there's auctions for those 30 available, then that auction proceeds that are paid in Tagcoin are burned every day, right? So that's cool, but it doesn't say anything about like the admin keys or how things are going to play out. So if I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, there's no audit to it. First of all, I think it's super cool. I love the way people are applying things here, and I think we're going to see better and better versions of things like this that are more tailored to users from a transparency standpoint and from a security standpoint. Right, super cool way of doing this. Love it. We're going to see other unique ways of using like staking, as in Solana does this with, I think it's proof of history. Helium does this with like proof of like something else, right? And we're going to see more and more of these use cases for doing these kinds of things, and some of them are going to catch on, and some of them are going to die. I don't know. Super interesting. Not personally going to be buying any because of the lack of audit and the admin keys, and super cool, but it just doesn't stimulate me in the way that it might stimulate some people, right? Somebody could use this for speculation if they think that a hashtag is going to be super useful. It doesn't really also give an incentive to hold this tag coin, right? If you have a bunch of these hashtags that you own as NFTs, you stake them on the protocol, and you're earning tag coins. Well, why would I hold those? Right? Like, there's no reason to hold those. It's just something that's inflating. You can. There was one section in here which I don't remember what it was in regards to, but you can take your tag. I think it is your tag coin and actually stake them for the deposit of the oracles or something. I don't remember the specifics of it, but effectively it wasn't going to apply to most people by the way I read through it. And it's appears that people are just going to get this thing and sell it off. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I pulled up the price chart of it, and over the past year, so it's not public yet, so we don't know, right? It did have a big run up here, but if we look at over the last year, right, it's basically flat. Not that a lot of things are flat or a lot of things are negative from a year ago. Completely understand that. That makes perfect sense. Not saying that it's a bad thing. A lot of things are flat relative to last year, or down or marginally up from last year. Not much has changed there. But I just don't see any reason to like hold. And then they're trying to talk about how it's like maybe a value of the kind of what Bitcoin is trying to do in terms of a store of value. Like this could be a store of value, but I don't see their tag coin as being a store of value. I'm like, why the fuck would anybody hold this shit? I don't know. If you're with tag or you understand the protocol at a deeper, more fundamental level than I do, let me know. But I don't see myself purchasing any of this in the future. If you guys found this video helpful or interesting, or want to share with somebody else, there's a share button down below. Leave me a comment of other interesting projects you would like me to check out. Love learning about these things. Love seeing all this new technology and impact this is going to have on the world. Also, have another YouTube channel that's coming up here related to fitness stuff, and Twitter as well as Instagram link down below. Active on both those platforms daily. So appreciate you. Talk to you soon. Peace.